Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Yeah, it looks like your camera's not working. And we're already getting a little bit of action here. This big order here at 19. Let's grab the links. There's one. And there's another one. Okay, so, oh wait, we gotta do one more thing. Close. Okay. Well, first of all, what is our schedule today? It's new home sales at 8 o'clock and 8:30. It seemed like the market is a little concerned about what's going on in the new home sales area, although there's really just not super significant news until 6:30, and then of course there's GDP on Friday. And when you look at the overnight action, really not too. I mean, we've stayed above yesterday's opening range. This 17 area. So we got a little bit of extension down there, and now we're getting a little bit of extension up here. We extended yesterday by a tick. I think today, yesterday was fairly range bound. I think that might carry over into today as well. Well, interesting though that they were trying to hold it there at 19. And then I think we should check the Bitcoin, because that's going to be the most interesting thing today. And when we zoom out, we can see that they have come back a little bit. So they extended. So there was a push. There was a second push, didn't make a new high in cumulative delta. Head and shoulders. Played through. Double top. Playing through. So showing some signals that they're done for now. We'll see if another wave comes in later. And I'm just gonna post here while we're looking at it. 22.7. Get the Bitcoin charts posted. Just get everything squared away. Okay, well, it's equal now to the highest level ever. So the Bitcoin's pretty ridiculous right now, guys. Pretty ridiculous. They're trading a lot more volume on the futures. So I'm actually going to change this up to 50 now. Let's try 50. 50 contracts is enough now? I hope. Yes. Much better. That shows it really well. Okay. So we're kind of back to yesterday's lows, actually 81.25. Okay, they held it there. We did get some selling there at 18.5. But they didn't go through. They're kind of stuck around this 19. node. Alright, I should reset it there. Yeah, okay. Okay, there's the Patreon post. And I can see they're still on this node. Why did I? I'm confused because I thought I reset it at 19. Okay, so there's that. Well, I'm a little wary. I mean, this is the right spot to go short right here, but they might extend it and turn it around here. Okay. They're definitely going to try going short at the beginning. See, we could have gone short at 18.5, but then what? We're getting 3 ticks versus if it went to the other side of the range, 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks risk. Does not make sense. Oh, Caesar, I don't know if you're listening to the stream right now, Zerv, but you asked what do you do on the weekends when the markets are closed? I've noticed that the majority of people do not do something related to trading. And you will find it's very difficult to find stuff related to trading on the weekend. And I think that the reason is because you gotta have balance and you gotta have other stuff. So use the weekend for other stuff. That's my recommendation. Use the weekend for family time and working on your yard and everything, and do the trading stuff during the week. You know, like if you want to do some extra research and learning and stuff, do that in the evening. Late afternoon. Okay, so somebody's holding it here at 18. So I don't necessarily like buying it here either, because even though you could probably get 6 off of this, you know, your stop is, if we want a 2-tick stop, your stop is like literally right where the low of the day is. And yeah, so that's not going to be a very good location for us. So you can definitely see the selling here. I keep sitting here saying, "Oh, I should be buying this. I should be buying this," but the risk isn't right. It does look like it's a good trade, but I just don't want to. It's in the long run, because really, even let's just say that this one works out, which right now it is for at least a tick. Okay. Um, you know, in the long run, our probability there is really, we don't know, but let's just say that it's 50-50. If you have that kind of a skewed risk reward, it's not going to work out in the long run. So I don't think that it's a good idea to take that one. Boom, boom, boom. 143.07. Yeah, so let's see where John's levels are today. I haven't gotten him yet. LinkedIn really wants me to use their premium subscription. Tick back down. So what I'm seeing right now is a very, very slow stock market, which says to me that we're not going to have very good probabilities here. It's interesting we get in volume in both directions here. Kind of tempted to put the short there, but I don't see the support for it yet. Okay, well, hmm. So that sell volume there is pretty significant. They haven't gotten it ticked down yet. Congratulations to Brian Kemp on your very big win last night. 69 to 30. Those are big numbers now. Go win against the open border crime loving opponent that Democrats have given you. She is weak on vets, the military, and the Second Amendment. Easy win. So was this the guy? I need to go find it. There was a guy that was down like 13 points in the polls and he still won. Like, what the fuck? That is that I'm kind of. I mean, I know nothing about this situation, but that just seems like fishy business. Okay, that was weird. That tick up. Okay, well, but they're not putting any size at 20 here. They broke through the iceberg, but they're not really that interested in taking 19.5. Anyways, this is in Georgia, so I know I would expect a Republican to win, but or the Trump Trump supported guy to win, but that's just way outside of. Yes, and there was the recording they released last night. Ron Johnson on-farm bailout. This is becoming more and more like a Soviet type of economy here. And not quite. If this becomes a regular thing, then obviously it would be really bad, but I believe that the administration at the moment feels that they're negotiating and that they're going to be done with this before the next election, and they just need to placate people until they get the deal. That's what they're probably thinking. So another thing here, because remember, I was thinking about a short there, but look at the 5 year. When we look at the pattern in the 5 year, it just does not support a short here, and especially considering that we have that iceberg at 113.07 core that pushed us up, and you have to see a lot more than what we're seeing to justify taking any kind of a trade. Yeah, I don't think that there's this a good place. There's more to come on Tape Saga, huh? Yeah. There's this whole thing with them saying that Michael Cohen is turned and that they'll release more stuff and everything. He's trying to he's trying to force the Trump administration to do something, and it's like, what do you think they're going to do? Like, come on, man. He was Trump's lawyer, and he's got this illegal thing on the side, and I'm guessing that maybe Trump knew that he was maybe a little bit of a shady lawyer, but you can't expect the president to want to take the fall for you, right? So the Trump administration probably has no choice but to just try and get as far away from him as they can. If he thinks that this is somehow going to save him from something, I think he's sadly mistaken. They're still going to prosecute him for this taxi thing. He's screwed. So maybe now this just turns into, if I'm going to go down, I'll take as many people as I can with me. Not sure what it looks like. But the question is, how bad of a thing would he have? Because the fact that they're going, I think you go for the thing that you think is the most effective first. That's always the thing you got to look for. Okay, this is some selling in the 5 year is pretty aggressive. You always go for the most effective thing that you think you have. So, is that tape the worst thing that Cohen has? I mean, maybe. Yep, he found out Trump isn't going to get him out of jail. Poor guy, he should have figured that out when he met him. I mean, great. If he has about what's with all the dramatics, why doesn't he just go to Mueller's office and do the right thing? Ding, exactly. He had something that was so bad, he would just out with it before Donald Trump even had a clue what was going on, instead of playing with this whole, oh, I've got something. Oh, you released it first, but I've got more. Probably means he doesn't have anything. Probably. It's not a guarantee, of course, but. Not really seeing any like huge outliers in delta here. It really just looks like it's just carefully moving back and forth across the profile range. So it's like, we could have bought it here when we saw that long, and we could have sold it here when we saw that short, but what happens if it actually breaks out of the range? Then you've got something that's, could really hurt you, and you never know when that's going to happen. And so we would probably have to be able to take it across this range 3 times before it would be worth it to take that trade, because eventually it's going to not work. So there you would have 2. When are you going to get a third? Well, actually you only need 2, but you only need 2 to make it worth it, but still. I think I would rather wait for this range to be broken out, see some sort of a failure, and try and take that. Since this is the opening range, and this is like literally the middle of the opening range, I think we could just stay here and kind of play around this until the E-mini opens. So it's super bored. Well, let's see here. We do have some comments. How's it going? Oh, thank you, Uzi, for answering that question. You're so great. He was asking what software am I using. I thought it was Bookmap at first look, but it's not. Yes, I'm using Jigsaw. The Jigsaw DOM looks really nice, doesn't it? It really does. I wonder. I was thinking today. Let's do this. Well, it's just not doing anything interesting. In appearance, what is the 04354? Oh, what was it? 43. 43. Ah, perfect. Now when you get the background, it just looks like the Jigsaw DOM. Huh? I know I have the most boring background, but white was maybe not the right thing. Now if I can go like this, and then when I want to draw, where's my Epic pen? Did I restart? I think that some games make it exit. Yes, and do the yellow and use the highlighter. Woo! Perfect. Love it. Yeah, I forget that it's there sometimes, so. $17.5 is where we touched, right? So this is basically from here. Here is the range. So you see that, and then there's that, and then there was a little extension. Last move down, right? Now we're at the bottom. Maybe right here we get a buy. You can see that the DOM is really thick there. It's really thick there. And of course, there's lots of trading coming down in between the middle here. So what does that mean? Probably just gonna stay in here. Which sucks. Because what I would much rather see is, would have much rather have seen us come to like right here and to try really, really hard to break out the top and fail. and then we could have shorted that all the way to like that. But it didn't happen. I mean, I kind of figured that it wasn't going to work, but man, it would have been nice. Wishful thinking. I've got mine set to red and green because I'm a simpleton. Well, you know, I don't really have a huge problem seeing red and green, but they're just not. You know, I can see why some people would be colorblind between red and green because there are certain shades of red and certain shades of green that I really need to see them next to each other to see the hue. Because there's no like discernible difference between them in terms of like brightness and shade. You know, like if you made it gray, they would be like the same color sort of a thing. And so when you're looking at all of this, when you got like stuff all over the place, hard to see it. That's why I recommend you use blue and an orangey color. This is red, but I actually kind of like an orange. Yeah, mine. It's like the Bronco colors. It's the best palette for colorblind and the easiest for you to differentiate with. So even if you're not colorblind, it's going to it's still going to help you discern between the elements. I have a lot of games, so like Planet Side was really bad because Planet Side there's 3 factions and one team is red and then one team is blue and the other is purple. And the shades of blue and purple that they use are kind of like eh. Yeah, you really don't think about the colors until you're staring at it for 7 to 8 hours a day. Yeah, exactly. It's like then you realize that hey, your eye actually does respond to different colors differently. Like if you really want something to stand out, you give it that yellowish green. Your eye can see that yellowish green better than anything else. Your eye is just going to be immediately drawn to that. So like when I'm playing a game, always yellow green crosshair. If you want something to really, you don't necessarily want your eye to be drawn to it, but you do want it to stand out, use magenta. Because magenta is so different from any other color. It's always going to pop out against the other colors, but it's not such a bright, vibrant color that it overwhelms everything else. But when you're like designing UIs and stuff, that's always been a top UI design consideration, is that blue orange is the best colors for colorblind people. But anyways, I was saying I can't see purple. So, well, I mean, I can see it, but there are certain shades of purple that just are like, what the heck? That's blue. It looks blue. So there's that, and then in Fortnite, so Fortnite has a really nice feature where you can go in and you can change the colors based on what type of color blindness you have. Because they have some items that are the blue, they have some items that are the purple, and with the default colors, I kind of have to sit and think about it. And I can really kind of tell more from the brightness of them than I can from the hue, which color is which. And I can usually tell when they're like right next to each other, but I can't just look at it like at a glance, which is what you got to be able to do with this sort of thing, right? Colors matter. So we came back down to the bottom of the range, and what I'm seeing now is they're trying to push back the other way. And there's an iceberg at 19. But the pushback is also extremely weak. So I think there might be a chance that this iceberg might hold and we get pushed down to the lows. And if we get down into this area, then I might start thinking about taking shorts. Because at that point it's like, well, we gotta be careful because they're gonna try and do something where they extend the range to try and get a bunch of people to take it, and then they'll flip it around. So we gotta be careful about that one. But when you look at the long-term chart, well, when we look at the long-term chart, it very, very much looks like a right. It's just a bear flag essentially, or a trap rather. Oh, look at that. See, they took that 18.5 really easily. Really easily. And they're trying to come back and they're getting, okay, but what's our risk? Is, it doesn't make sense. That seems like a good signal. Let's see if they push down from it. Well, that's definitely somebody trying to push it out. And we're seeing that was one of the more significant sell events that we've, well, actually, it was the most significant sell event we've had today. Yeah. This is where the jigsaw cumulative delta is the best because when I look at my chart over here, I can't really see that yet. But on the jigsaw one, the delta, it's like really obvious. Need to find something to help me organize my windows because it drives me nuts when I move something. And then there's like that little gap between the windows and it's not perfect. And I can see it. And sometimes when I drag things out, you get that. I think there's one right there. I fix it. That one. Okay, well, it was a pretty good sell, but it didn't actually go through, did it? So I guess they're gonna go to the other side again. How many monitors do I run? I have 3. So we've got, I wish I could, well actually I think I can show you. Don't I have, oh I don't have it. I'd have to make another scene. Or I'd have to change this one. So there's my other one. And you can just see the OBS. And then here's the other one. Those are the charts that I stick up. What I would like to have though is just this. I don't know if you could see that. That would be really cool if you could. But I would like to move to 2. It's just this middle monitor that I have that I would like to get a second one of is really expensive because it's like the high refresh and everything. Now you would think that the high refresh would not make a difference for trading, but it absolutely does because it's just less eye strain. When I look at this one, it's, I don't know what, it's hard to explain, but it's just harder to look at. It's like more focus, and this one, it just looks like a piece of paper to me. Oh, you know, I should fix this. I never fixed the camera. So you can see me. There we go. I need to get another camera. Like, I saw this camera on the Razer store, like the people that make mice and stuff, and it's got like a light built into it. I think that would be really cool. And it's much better quality camera than the one that I've got. Then I could give this one to the kid because the kid likes to record himself when he plays games. In my trading journey, I started with 1, up to 2, went to 3, and now I'm at 4 as time has gone on. And when I started using DOMs, I started looking at the other 3 less and less. Yeah, well, I definitely feel that I could trade with just this. Especially now that I'm getting better at reading the volume profile. So I have to say one thing with the you know, I learned from Nobia's trading, and he says, you know, all you need is the DOM, and he explains the level 2 games and things like that. But what I'm learning, and what I've seen from the clips I've seen him actually trading, he really uses the volume profile a lot too. And he never really explains that or how he uses it. And it's probably just an oversight on his part, but I think he should probably go into that a little bit. And but once you have the volume profile, you can kind of almost see the pattern, right? Like with this one, it's very obvious that we've just ranging back and forth here at this one, with a little bit of a tail down here, meaning we spent a little bit more time up here. So when I come and I get my charts over here, yeah, the chart doesn't really tell me a whole lot. Yeah, one of the No BS videos is what motivated me to bail on crazy currencies and go into treasuries. That reminds me, I have a video I made and I need to upload it. That I was talking about getting into futures. I have a brief thing in there about currencies, but man, I really just need to make a video which is like FX trading sucks, don't do it. Because we get so many people that come in and they want to do Forex. And it's like, look guys, there's many Forex futures. Not that I think that they're the best products to trade, but they do exist. And there is the 5-year too, which is really hard to make money on because of the tick to commission ratio, but you can do it. That would be about the same thing as trading currencies, right? Like the amount that you lose on the commission is about equal to the amount that you're going to be losing on the bid-ask spread for Forex. But the difference is that you can actually see what's going on in the product. Yeah, I really don't like Forex, but anyways. So if I had more monitors, like let's say that I was able to go to 6, I think I would just put up more DOMs. Like, let's see, the thing that killed me trading currencies, it was watching the current trades column and nothing would trade at prices while the market swung around. It drove me nuts. Oh yeah. Well, Bitcoin is the same way, right? Because the market that they are trading is not this market. There's a cash market for it. I mean, there's a cash market for treasuries, but for some reason, most of the business happens in the treasuries, and so you can in the futures, and so you can see what they're doing. But like in Bitcoin, right? There could be all sorts of selling, and it's going down, and you might not actually see it in the volume and in the bid ask, and what you're going to see is you're just going to see the bid and ask move without anything trading. And yeah, and Forex can do that too. And in fact, so actually the JPY is a really good example right now. I'm just going to refresh it to so it can be just an aberration of the tick replay, but when you look in the 6J futures, they've been doing nothing but selling for like 2 days, but that's not what the price action has been. So you can have periods in the Forex where it just goes against the volume for long periods of time. Wonder, can I set I was gonna say, can you like change it per desktop? But it looks like you can't. I would prefer that this window over here was white, because the reason why I had it white before was because when there's a little gap between the windows, it's really obvious. Now with this different color, you can't see. slowing down a bit and moving treasuries helped me understand the order flow a lot better. Like, totally changed the game for me, actually being able to see the dynamics at play. Yeah, I agree. You really, the way that it moves makes it so that you can really analyze it, and you can see things like, hey, there's an iceberg. Sometimes they go through the iceberg and it pushes us down, and sometimes the iceberg holds and it pushes us up. And it's really more the fact that so many people took a trade there and half of them are going to lose that moves it away from that location. And when you're looking at it on like the E-mini, the E-mini is just going all over the place, and you might not necessarily be able to read that just looking at the individual ones. The only thing you're going to see in the E-mini is that it's going to come up to there's like going to be a big order, they're going to come up to it, and maybe they absorb there, and maybe it turns around, and maybe it doesn't. It's just so much easier to see in the treasuries. Looked like they got a little excited there at 20, and then they immediately smacked it back down. I guess another thing I should make note of is that they're stacking here. See that? They're stacking at 18 since they've moved away from it. And you got this thing right here in the 5-year. So, and that says to me that we may just stay in this range, but that it's going to be a pretty sluggish move back down. Icebergs and more volatile instruments are almost meaningless. An iceberg and treasuries could take a few minutes to play out. And in currencies, there's like no such thing as icebergs, right? And one of the things that took me a really long time, and I'm saying like in the last month or two, to realize is that what happens after the iceberg is more important than the iceberg itself. Much more important. And in treasuries, you can really see how it plays out. You can see, okay, they pushed through the key level. They put a decent bid. It's not a ton. And 7 contracts traded immediately. Okay. Nothing happens, they tick back down. Okay, so that means it failed. Now they might trade again, and then if I see 7 trade again and like 100 trade, and then maybe that's something that's like, okay, maybe we could push up then at that point. But the existence of the spot in and of itself doesn't tell you anything. It's just kind of more like, pay attention, something important might happen. And yeah, I think you can only see that in treasuries. So I understand why if you were like at a prop firm, they usually make you start with treasuries. That makes a lot of sense to me. But the thing is that especially for a retail trader, I just feel like treasuries are your best instrument anyways. So it's like you start there in treasuries, and then when you get to the point where maybe you could work on a different market, it's like, why bother? The only other one that I think I would trade would be the equity indexes, but everybody wants to trade oil. Which is a problem. So I always wonder, like, the top step combine thing. What would they change things if you couldn't trade oil? Like take out all of those instruments. Like let's just say that it was a top step combine and you could only trade treasuries. I think they would have to change their profit targets and stuff, because not very many people would be able to get funded. It takes too long with the tick size treasuries. Or you have to take outsized risk, and then, yeah. and you have to trade like all 4 lots that they give you on in the ZN. Trade all 4 lots, and then let's say you get 4 ticks. So 4 ticks is 62, 125, 250. So you could potentially make 250, make or lose 250 a day. So that is within the risk parameters. And then you would really have to push the risk. Trade again sometime. I should go back through some of my stats and look at it. Okay. What if I trade 4? Maybe it's worth it. Well, it's still stuck here in this range, and I don't want to take a trade on either end of this, so I'm just going to step away for a moment and get some water. I didn't miss anything. Yeah. Pretty quiet on the Twitch front today. Slightly less viewers than normal. So you can see that there's a couple of people that decided not to trade today, I'm guessing. So another key thing here, I haven't reset my DOMs since we were at the bottom of that range, but you can see here, the 10 years up 3, well, 2 really, and this one, the 30 is up essentially 4. Well, actually it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're not lining up very well. We're just getting a bunch of spreading. Okay, there's the E-mini. There was a little bit of movement when the E-mini started up. Yeah, I can't really tell what it's going to do. Well, I think they want to trust that 28, 20, 25. I think we might see that and maybe above. Let's see if they do it. One thing that we should probably point out is that the cumulative delta in the 10-year has been mostly down. So if it continues to be slow, it's probably more likely to break out of the bottom. And if we were going to take a range bound trade, it would definitely be a lot better to sell 20.5 than it would be to buy 18.5. The problem is just that it would be very easy for something else to come in here and just screw everything up. Like the news at the top of the hour could definitely change things around, and I'm going to guess that the housing data is probably going to be bad, which could potentially move treasuries up. I think a lot of people are getting worried about the rates being too high for where we're at. And there's definitely a part of the market that believes that right now. Thinks that the Fed is wrong. That's tightening manager. So range bound. Well, the E-mini did go up and take out the big order, and as soon as it showed up, a big order below them showed up. It's kind of interesting. We're still stuck right in the middle of the opening range. So 1919 is the middle of the opening range in the 10-year. Okay. Getting some fishy business here. The E-mini's making new highs. That 18 looks awfully thick. Look at the way that they sell that as soon as it goes bid. A sell program there, selling 19. Wow. Want to see is that they're doing it with one lots. Yeah. It's a robot. Okay. So that was 7 at one point. It's a 6 to 8 now. I'm kind of wondering now if we come back down to it, if it's going to pull. Oh, and did you notice? Oh, I should have noticed. I think that because I'm seeing these big orders here, I think we might see something spectacular happen. And then a possibility to reverse like yesterday. I can't tell if we're going to break out to the upside or the downside, and I can't tell what this big, huge order is trying to do. You can just see that the 10-year is poised here to possibly pull that 7 and dip. The E-mini correlation does suggest down. The absorption there at 19 suggests down. Okay. It took 18.5 pretty well, and some did pull here. I'm noticing that we're getting a lot of cumulative delta long. That's not resulting in uptick. Hmm. Yeah, the cumulative delta in the 10-year here is up. I'm gonna try this one because of the shenanigans we're getting here. Let's see some aggressive hitting at 18 now. That was a ton of buying there at 18.5 that didn't even phase the offer. I mean, they ate through everything that was on offer, and the sellers immediately hit back and then held another 2,000 on it. I think you're gonna see them trade into this, and this was 7, now it's 5. they could just take it all at once, frankly. Especially if this starts to get over like 3 to 4. There's an iceberg in the 5-year. That could be a key. And now we're over 3. Still waiting for the 5-year to... So the 10-year had an iceberg, it held. The 5-year has an iceberg that fell. Or it held. I think that the 5-year iceberg is about to get broken through. We need to look here. We need to be cognizant. Okay, so 18, 15.5. So I think that what we might do is go down and break the low and extend that by 2 ticks. Okay, then 18 is stacked back to 6. Okay. They took out the 10 and they put a huge bid at the 18.5. Nobody's jumped out. You can see the sell program selling it at 18.5 a little bit again. It was a 5-year ticked up and was what did it. If the 5-year ticks back down. Okay, the 5-year does tick back down. It's going to go back and forth here. Okay, so there the 5-year took a pretty good down tick. Good size following it down, but nothing's hitting into 6 3/4. Some pulled in the 10-year, but it didn't tick. So I'm thinking about the possibility of scratching this now. I think it's still holding as long as I don't see a ton of volume going into 19. I think I'm okay. But it looks like the 5-year really needs to attack 6 3/4 for this to go. I just see a lot of buying in here and then not, you know, so much buying here for them to have not really ticked up at all. On 5 minutes to the news. Okay. You can see the bid in the 10-year really reacting to what's happening in the 5. A little bit of volume trading there at 09 in the 30-year. Okay. So quite a bit of selling volume that came through there in the 5-year. It's not a huge outsized amount quite yet, but it was a lot, and it did not tick. And came in the 5 and the 30. Both of them sold. And there's this program in the 10-year again. Yeah, the machine gun's going to be kind of annoying because they try and like randomize the orders somewhat. So like this one, they're all one lots, but like the pace that they come in at is random. It's like there's a random interval between each order, so you kind of get this sort of a thing, and it's meant to mess up certain algorithms, but you can definitely tell that it kind of messes with your tempo, doesn't it? Okay. Well, they're still hitting it. I mean, it's been a long time. They're still hitting it. I really still think that they're going to break through the bottom of it, and we'll see. Okay, here's the news. Could have probably have taken this off before we get to the news, but not really reacting. So it was 631 versus 669, so it was bad. Okay, they are hitting 19 here now. Okay. Sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. Okay, that this big order at 17 shows up again. E-Mini's coming back now. E-Mini doesn't seem to like the news. Well, the 30-year is still just right there. I just want to fall asleep, guys. I went to bed early, too. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, they are hitting that 09. You know what I think I should do is I should set like a I still think that order at 18 looks suspicious. Like maybe it's a real. When I say suspicious, I don't necessarily mean fake, but that if they got through it, that the market might lose a lot of support. They're hitting that 070 in the 5 year now too. Equities are kind of showing some unhappy patterns here. Neutral extreme higher day yesterday and gap open. Okay, so there's the E-mini went back to the VWAP and bounced off of it the first time. Okay, they finally did trade up through 19. Okay. Wow, someone's smashed Donald Trump's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Just absolutely destroyed it. Well, it doesn't look too convincing here at 20, but that's kind of starting to make me think that they might try and pop it through here. I don't know. I really thought that this buying back here was off, and we did get a sell, but it just wasn't a very big sell, so. Nope, I guess not. So, them not being able to get above. Oops. I need to change this. Them not being able to get above the 20 is significant in my opinion. They had all that buying and they actually came up a tick short of the last swing. And it's right at the VWAP, which is a place that I am comfortable taking, because we can use this as, like, you know, shouldn't be able to get more than 2 ticks past the VWAP and then to the downside. In fact, we can just put our stop there at 20.5 or 21. Okay. There it is. A little bit of back and forth, but we want this offer to hold. Okay, not a strong bid. Let's see them. I'll let them do it a few more times. Okay. 17. We gotta see the 5-year sell here, though. Come on. You mean you're not cooperating? Okay. Yeah. It's not happening. Too much shit there at 0.75. Oh, of course. They scare me out and then they dump 3,000 on it. Yeah. They seem to be in a pickle here. Yeah, range bound light days can't light. It's hard to focus. Well, that was pretty exciting there. I just really sucks because you're seeing so much buying up there. And they're not, it didn't go, but they're not going through, they're not. Like, what is it going to take to get the sellers to jump on board? I feel like that if the sellers could step up here and take out 0.72 and hold a good offer in the 5-year, that we could very easily push back to the other side of this range and then fall out through the bottom and go towards the lows. But so far, it's not happening. The sellers aren't coming in. we're kind of at the mercy of the big boys. Aren't doing, they're doing a pretty good job at hiding their hand. Okay, so there's a downtick in ZF. Not a super great offer. Pretty weak. 300, they held it. Okay, 1,000, that's good. No. Well, the 30-year went. Okay, 5-year. Now maybe the 10-year might tick. Come on. I still think that the 5-year is going to tick back up. If we can get this to flip here. Nope. 07 is just stacking. Okay, the 30-year ticked down again. And now finally the 10 goes. If this works out, I think we should consider ourselves very lucky that we got filled if this works out. Because, I mean, there was definitely some buying up in there, and I definitely saw that it was like just buying and it wasn't going through. But that they bought enough at the 19.5 to get me filled is just like, that normally would not happen, you know? It would usually be a lot harder to get filled there. Okay, well, the 30-year is really... Okay, they haven't ticked 08 yet. They're showing it, and nobody's sold it yet. Nobody ever wants to be the first. There it goes. Wow, just all at once, too. There's 7. 7's probably where they're going to try and hold it. Here's the 18. Notice that there's already 1,500 pulled. This side of the range might still hold, so we gotta be careful. I'd have to say though, this might be a type of head and shoulders pattern. I really think that their failure to touch 20.5 is pretty bad failure. observed get do here? He got short at 19. And he's trying to get filled at 18.5. He was having trouble getting it. Oh, but he did get it. I have to add those books a little bit later that A. Waddle posted. Okay. So buyers are trying to buy it up here at 18.5 and are having a really hard time with it. A bit of a level break setup there, but it's so range bound that it might actually mean that we're unlikely to break it. Let's see. Okay, well, the 5-year is getting dangerously close to its low. The 5-year did tick down and the 10 has not. We may get a situation where if they decide to take it at 18, that they're going to just do it all at once. Yep. Okay. There's a possibility that they just touched the low and that's it, because they hit it, but they caught it still, and I'm not really seeing a ton more volume following in afterwards. And the 30-year, let's reset it. The 30-year hasn't. Okay, so there's the 5. I'm just waiting to see if they do decide to extend it in the 5-year. Okay. Well, there's a good offer. The 10 broke, the 5 didn't. Probably will, though. I mean, there's only 329 there. Okay. Get a new low, please. Okay, well, that's not good. That's incredibly bizarre. For it to tick down to a new low in the 5-year and then not actually trade at 06. Is it unfinished now in the 5-year too? Like, ugh. I mean, if they don't tick down here, then they're really likely to come back sometime later and trade it. There's still more volume to come out in the 10-year. And the E-mini may yet make a new high. So I'm seeing a potential exit here at 18, but there's enough of a chance that I want to risk it. And I have some good profit locked in, so I really want to do it. I can get out at 18.5 if I have to. Plus, if it ticks out, I think there's probably still a good chance that I would get filled at 18. Okay. It seems now that the 5-year may have actually been waiting for the 10. So there they traded it. I'm gonna take the 4. Crap! What the fuck? Oh! Hey, what just happened? There must have been some news. Some Trump advisors see auto tariffs imposed this year, Washington Post. Oh, I am so fucking mad, guys. Oh, gosh. I was sitting there, I was like, I had the order in. I was like, I think I can get filled. Might happen. Okay, it didn't happen. Okay, here's this one. I think I can get out here. And then news came out and pushed us up 6 ticks. Broke that end of the range. This is just, I don't want to touch that. So why would you be selling it if the auto tariffs are going to be imposed this year? The market's going to do a bunch of really irrational bullshit now. It's pretty bad, right? Fetch. Hesitation paid off for me on that one. So did you take a tick out of that? Or did you just stay out of it? Oh, man. Oh no, bro. Oh man. Okay, well, after a disappointment like that, it's inappropriate to take another trade. Absolutely not. I think that news should push treasuries up, but it's also a little bit suspicious because just them just releasing. Why would Trump advisors say something like that? Hmm? So definitely something that the Trump administration wanted to be out in the market, probably to help with their negotiating position, trying to squeeze out Canada and Mexico or something. So like, yeah, it's time. It's time to call it. So you know what? It wasn't too bad. So we took one here. I think this was kind of an ill-advised trade because it was down at the bottom and there really wasn't enough impetus to push us out. But this one that we took at 19.5 was just beautiful. Like we got the top of it. We were able to find a good risk reward because we were only risking 2. We were able to hold on to it and get some good ticks down. I actually really think that we could have gotten a little bit more. Like, I think we might have been able to get down to 16 had the news not come out. But sometimes news just comes out and it's a freak thing and there's nothing you can do about it. So what you gonna do? And that one, have you noticed? So I want to point something else out. There's been a lot of news items that moved the market out of China. And when those happened, I was always seeing fishy things, With this one, I mean, we were going down, but we were going down because buyers were overextended. Kind of felt like it was doing what it was supposed to until the news came out. So this one, I think that everybody was just really surprised. Could be. But, I have to say also, yesterday we did make a few ticks. Today was very, very range bound, but I was able to stay out of most of it. One bad trade, and then a good trade that just didn't work out because of news. I don't think I've ever done that before. It had like a trend day and a range day next to each other and gotten both of them. So that's really good progress too. And I feel like I've tried to really focus a lot more this week and focus on getting here and being ready and involved in everything. And of course, when it's in the range, I do sit and chat a little bit, but it's better, and I think it's working for us, isn't it? And I've had these deltas over here in the 10-year. That seems to be helping a lot too, because I could see here when we were down here. Okay, there's buying, but they're not going. I tried to do it. Probably wasn't a good risk reward, but anyways, then it finally did come through. And then it failed to make a new high. We saw the sellers come in and take it. And then you can't blame yourself for a bullshit explosion. It's just like a freak accident. It just happens sometimes. It really sucks though. Oh man, that is absolutely, that's gonna have to be like a top 10. That was so okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.